The extra large is available in cayenne, moss, and aubergine.
We didn't have 6.5 in the plum, so I brought you black.
But I really want plum.
Do you think moss is pretty?
You know, I don't know, lady. Why don't you just pick a color, please?
Dave? That's Dave Johnson. He never struck me as the kind of guy who'd go get small. Wow.
So the decision to...
Downsizing takes the pressure right off, especially money pressure. We live like kings.
We're dying to move. We're really strapped.
You want my advice? Leisure land's where you want to be.
In Leisureland, your $100,000 translates to $12 million.
Wow.
I just got another diamond bracelet.
Pretty nifty, huh?
Okay, let's go for it.
Nervous?
Little. I love you.
I love you too.
Today, you will undergo the permanent and irreversible procedure known as downsizing.
All clear.
It's just frantic. You've got to call.
Paul, don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad. I can't leave my family. I can't leave my friends. And I'm sorry, Paul.
I should have been thinking more about myself.
Thinking about yourself? I'm 5 inches tall!
As large as you can, please.
I know this can put a pretty big dent in anyone's self-esteem. But downsizing is about hitting the reset button. Start all over.
I have allergies. Wait. I'm gonna take off my shoes.
You may find yourself
Open your eyes.
in another part of the world.
The world is filled with things to see.
And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done?
That woman is really sick.
You help her.
These are the people that we should be helping.
Something very big is happening. Something top secret.
Why did I downsize? So that I could be here, right now. I finally have a chance to do something that matters.
You think we're in the normal world, and then something happens,
Oh my God.
and you realize we're not.
Same as it ever was.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Miss Joyce, doing good. How you doing?
Me, I'm great.
The men lined up waiting to be shaved. Not even the eyebrows were spared. Not a single hair on the body could be left. After everything was shaved off, they all underwent dental examinations together. All cavities had to be extracted. Then they were wheeled into the operating chambers. As the switch was activated, the human images on the monitor rapidly shrank. Then the miniaturized humans were wheeled out. This technology service was very thoughtful. After shrinking, they would even fix their teeth again. Paul woke up from his coma. Seeing the cookies the nurse brought him, he knew his shrinking surgery was successful. He eagerly asked about his wife's situation, but his wife couldn't accept having all her hair shaved off. She actually abandoned Paul, breaking the promise between them. Paul owned a luxurious mansion in the miniature city, but without his wife's companionship. None of this was what he wanted. To keep himself from being too lonely, he moved to an apartment, found a job to pass the time. He also tried dating women, but the results weren't ideal. Fortunately, his neighbor warmly invited Paul to join a party. Paul felt such a lively atmosphere for the first time. He danced along with everyone. After humans are shrunk 2,000 times, anyone can become a billionaire. The trash produced by 5 billion tiny humans is still less than the amount an adult generates in a single day. A villa costs only a few $100s, and even a single biscuit can last for an entire year. Diamonds and necklaces are available for free. The most important part is that your wealth will multiply by 1,000 times. Nick and his wife, with their modest income, were immediately intrigued by the idea. They decided to undergo the shrinking procedure. First, they had to shave off all body hair. Then, all their teeth were removed. Finally, everyone was ushered into a chamber. The staff activated the switch with a key. Once the temperature was adjusted to the right level, they waited for 30 minutes. The shrinking process was complete. The nurses then used a small shovel to lift the shrunken people and placed them onto a cart. They were handed over to a smaller nurse, who took charge. At this point, the nurse presented a biscuit large enough to feed a tiny human for a year. Soon, Nick's wife called. It turned out that she had gotten scared and decided to cancel the procedure. Nick was furious, unable to believe that his wife had abandoned him. Heartbroken, he he moved into his new home. Although it was a villa, he could not bring himself to feel any joy. The shrinking procedure was irreversible. Before long, Nick received a package containing his wife's wedding ring and a divorce agreement. Half of his assets were taken, and he had to move out of the villa, replacing it with a modest apartment. To make matters worse, he still had to continue working. In order to alleviate his loneliness, Nick began dating other women. However, after kissing one of them, he realized he didn't feel any love. It wasn't until one day when he encountered a disabled housekeeper that things began to change. Nick, under the pretext of offering a massage, struck up a conversation. Seeing his kindness, the housekeeper asked him to follow her and help more people. Soon, they were traveling through a tunnel, heading to another area. When they arrived, Nick was stunned. He had never expected to find a slum in this world. The people living here were mostly elderly and impoverished. Annie had been working as a caregiver here, and her kindness deeply moved Nick. He decided to stay and help the residents. As they spent more time together, Nick and Annie began to develop feelings for each other. One day, Nick met the scientist who had invented the shrinking process. They were now working on a new underground facility. This place contained all the resources humans would ever need. Even if the world were to end, the people underground could continue living without worry.
Okay, I cover this, but also I have my own opinions because this movie is called like Downsizing, right? And I did a reaction, but I don't want to spoil everything because I'm going to show you a movie reaction about this movie. But in this video, I'm going just to show or express my own opinions on the matter and also the general theme of Downsizing, right? But the Downsizing was released in 2017, and we have like a main character who was like Matt Damon, and I like the notion, especially it's like I like the notion of different writers coming up with ideas like, hey, you know what? Let's create a movie that, let's say there's like problems of overpopulation, right? Overpopulation. So let's make a movie about overpopulation, and now the government have to find ways to reduce overpopulation, which is crazy. And now you can see we have these characters who are like, hey, you can volunteer in joining this experiment project where you can be shrunken down into a tiny size so we can see if the natural resources and other resources and basic need that we're going to provide you will be enough for you to use, because now you're tiny, which is crazy. And I like the idea because in this movie, the government had to fund some experiment project that are going to deal with this, like, hey, let's shrink citizens who are going to be like volunteering for this project, so we can see now if they're able to use the resources that we are going to give them, because as you can see, in the country, we are dealing with problem of overpopulation. So all resources are not enough to provide to all the people who are living in this nation. So this is actually cool. And a great message about this is, hey, we need to find ways to solve the problem of overpopulation. And if we can't solve these things, it's going to bite us in the future. Yes, and you can see, in the future, just imagine, this movie was released in 2017. Today is 2026. How many years? How many years? Almost like 9 years. 9? Yes, I think 9 years. 9? Yeah, 9 years. Because, okay, in reality, the most populated country is China, which is which has almost like 3 billion. And it's still going, and after almost like in 2017 and stuff, it had almost like a lot of people where the government had to enact some laws like, hey, you know what, because people are increasing, we need to reduce this overpopulation and stuff. So we need to come with laws like every family have to have 1 kid where the government can support the kid. And then when you guys want to juice a lot and have a lot of kids, so your second child and other kids that you're going to get after that, you are going to fund them in terms of education and the services that they need in terms of their growth. So that's crazy. And at that time, there was laws. So some people were not able to produce more kids because now if you're not wealthy, you can't have more kids. All the people who were wealthy were able to have kids because now have more than one kid, because you can have one kid and then the government can provide services to that kid. And if you have another kid, that kid is your responsibility to provide services and like food, I don't know, education, everything is on you. So it was kind of like harsh, but the main thing was to control the level of population that was happening. And because as you can see, children were like growing, like children were increasing, and then in a country it had a lot of old people and also the youth and also the kids. So the country was overpopulated, and they had to come with ways like, hey, first let's deal with child, like families. Every family had to have one kid. If you have more than one kid, family members, you are going to provide for the other child because the government has no funds to take care of all your kids. And second, in terms of giving land to every person, what if we take the land and then we create this gigantic like apartment complex where people are being able to live inside apartments so that we can preserve more land, which is crazy, so that we can preserve the environment so that people can be able to live in that place. That was a genius place, because when you go to China, especially in the urban areas, those areas are going to be filled with a lot of like skyscrapers and apartment where people are living. Yes, especially when you're going to maybe Shanghai or maybe Beijing, especially in urban areas. That's gonna be it, because I used to study in China. If you don't know, I'm gonna give you a spoiler about my life. I used to study in China, and yes, even though I used to study in I'm not gonna say where I used to study, but it's like that. So yeah, they had to come up with ways in terms of controlling our population, because when a country has increase of population suddenly, it may cause some problems. It may cause diseases, it may cause unemployment, it may cause the rise of like criminal activities. Let's say another example, this is not bad like in terms of using this example, but I like to give you like example, like maybe India. In some part of India is so overpopulated that tends sometimes to have problems like cholera and diseases like malaria and stuff, because there's no resources and there's no the place are overpopulated. Some places have a lot of people, and then you can see the resources are so scarce, and you can see even the scarcity of water. So you can see like when a nation has a lot of people, it may cause problems because there's a lot of people. Just imagine, right? A good example is like this. You have a small house, and then that house, you are living with almost like 20 people, your family members. Put the grandma, I don't know who, uncle, cousins and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's just a small house. And guess what? All these people, all these family members have no job, so they are jobless. What do you expect that house gonna be? First, that house is gonna be still filthy, because first, kids will be running around, they'll not be able to eat, and also some kids may be pooping everywhere because now they can have money to buy diapers and stuff like that. So you can see it may cause diseases. There's a lot of things that can happen. In my country, population is growing, but not so much. So it means all the natural resources and other resources that the government provides to the people is cool. We get it. Where I'm living right now is every person is able to buy a land and build your own house, because there's like a lot of land and it's free. And you can just buy a big piece of land and then create your own house, and you can see you can get fresh air, there's trees, like it's environmental friendly, which is so cool. But just imagine if a country has the increase of population. Do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Where there's increase of population in a place, it may first influence the rise of diseases, because you never know. There's an increase of people, and other people are coming from different place and then joining in the same place. You never know those people who are coming from what disease that they have. So it means when they come from different places to that area, they tend to come with those kind of diseases, and then they may start creating these pandemic diseases which tend to spread so rapidly. It's like when you're watching different news about these diseases, maybe Ebola and what, malaria and some like communicable diseases. So you can see that is kind of like the reason behind it. And sometimes one of the effect of overpopulation, it may increase the rise of unemployment, because now we have a lot of people living in a single area, so there'll be scarce of job opportunities, because now all jobs will be filled with people. So now other people who are jobless, they may engage themselves in criminal activities, because now they have to provide food for their family, so they have to depend on bad ways of earning money, and then now they have to focus themselves on doing criminal activities. And you know what, when they do criminal activities, they may hurt some people, and they may take some lives, so they may create some problems in the society. The society may live in unrest, because you can see there's no safety, there's no security. You see, because there's an increase of population. Okay, another effect of overpopulation, it may cause environmental destruction. Why? If there's like a lot of people, when a place is overpopulated, some people will need shelter, and when people need shelter, it means some people will start invading in places where like it's naturally preserved, like let's say national parks and stuff, which where like wildlife are living. So now, because the place is overpopulated, it means now people have to cut down trees so that they can create houses and stuff and shelter and stuff. So now people will be going and placing their creating settlement in places that is not allowed to be settled. So now they are ruining the environment, and they are going to remove the nature of the place, because if natural place, like let's say the national park, or maybe what is called places near the river, or maybe preserved for like almost tourists and stuff, they cannot continue they cannot be used like that, the same thing as that, because now people are just focusing like, hey, this land is cool, so let's use it, because now we have a lot of people who are increasing, so they need shelter. So now you may go to disturb the wildlife, which is actually crazy, because when you started creating settlement in places where like wildlife are living, it means you're going to cause problem, because now you'll be living with predators who are going to make sure like eat you as a source of food, because so that's kind of like create like kind of security and sometimes environment, because as you can see, cutting down trees, and then after trees, sometimes we may try to burn down trees so that you can create like a piece of land where you can build your houses, and those when just we are planting new ones, if you do that, that land is going to be destroyed and you can't even use it for like production and stuff, and that's really weird. So that is only my take on it, and if you're really interested, go and watch it, because this movie is really crazy and really amazing. Just people have to like volunteer to be shrunken down so that you can see if you are able to use the resources. It's cool, because just imagine a tiny person, just imagine like in your common sense, in reality, if you shrunk a person into tiny size, like, and you give him like, hey, this is the tomato, right, use it, and every day you have to take the tomato and put it in the freezer and then take it out to the person and use it again. It means that tiny person, or 100% people are able to use one tomato for a week, rather than a normal person can use one tomato in just a single morning and it can finish. But when 100 people are shrunken down into tiny size, they are able to use that tomato for almost a week. So it means the resources will be enough for them to use, for their survival, which is actually amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like the Boers when they used to steal even potatoes and stuff. It's the same thing like this. So to me, this movie is amazing, but more commentary is going to be on my reaction of this movie. So you need to stay tuned, because before even giving you the movie reaction, first I do like a review and an opinions and giving out my own thoughts on it, and then on the movie reaction you're going to see my take on it, so that you guys can be like able. So thank you very much.